Hello, I'm Dan Rather, and welcome to the CBS Evening News online edition. Just ahead, U.S. forces pound Fallujah in advance of an expected offensive. But will a military victory have a high political price? Also, a consumer alert. Scam artists beware. Seniors are learning you're never too old to catch a thief. And California taxpayers are about to spend almost $100 million to preserve some beautiful beaches. But before you pack your swimsuit, you better see our report. It's all starting now on the CBS Evening News online edition. From the grunts on the line to the top brass, every soldier and Marine facing battle hopes for the best, but plans for the worst. U.S. commanders are sure they can take Fallujah, but CBS News national security correspondent David Martin reports the question remains, at what cost?
Pilots who would fly airstrikes in support of a ground assault on Fallujah are expecting a battle lasting 5 or 6 days. Days that will mark a turning point in the war for Iraq. However many days it takes, no one doubts U.S. troops can retake the city and eliminate what has become a major terrorist stronghold. But not even a gung-ho Marine believes that alone will end the insurgency.
Just by taking it out does not mean the rest of the insurgency will fall, that it will be a big chip in that block out there.
U.S. military officers say they can destroy any target, take any city, including Fallujah. But a military victory can end in political defeat if it alienates the local population.
Will the residents of Fallujah, some of whom will almost certainly become casualties or be driven from their homes, feel liberated or terrorized by American firepower? That question is what led the U.S. to call off its first attempt to retake Fallujah last April and has affected the timing of the next assault, as Iraqi government officials, who must give the final go-ahead, argue among themselves. The UN's Kofi Annan has written President Bush, Britain's Tony Blair, and Iraq's Prime Minister Alawi, warning the use of force would only alienate Iraqis and disrupt plans for nationwide elections in January. But U.S. officials argue that since calling off last April's offensive against Fallujah, the insurgency has only grown in size and violence, and that it would be impossible to hold elections without first bringing the insurgency under control and restoring local government rule, as they have done recently in cities like Najaf and Samarra. That means Iraqi forces have to fight as well. U.S. troops could retake the city by themselves, but unless Iraqi soldiers and policemen quickly move in and take over, it would be an empty victory purchased at the almost certain price of more American casualties. David Martin, CBS News, The Pentagon.
In tonight's CBS Consumer Alert, fighting back against scammers who often target the elderly. CBS's Gretchen Carlson shows you the old-school approach to payback time.
Congratulations on your purchase.
In their 66 years together, Mac and Ethel Foster haven't argued over much.
And you take it out of the box.
But this mattress pad almost put an end to their marital bliss.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yes.
After a high-pressure sales pitch, Mac Foster plunked down more than $1,000 on this supposedly magnetic mattress pad. It turns out the pad didn't even seem to have magnets. So the Fosters got mad, joining Seniors versus Crime, a volunteer program that turns senior victims into senior sleuths. For the Fosters, that meant tracking down the mattress salesman who had scammed more than 60 other retirees.
Each of them are like assistant attorney generals. You have to have heart and you have to have guts. And the seniors in this program have both.
Senior sleuths aren't just offering moral support to their peers, they're also making the bad guys pay. So far, recovering more than $3 million in Florida alone.
Please contact us immediately.
Don't be fooled by her frail appearance. Ruth Randall has collected more than $150,000 on the cases she's closed.
If he's ducking me, I call him up very nicely or very nastily, depending on who he is and what he has to say.
This is the compressor unit.
Martha Gibson came to Ruth with a badly botched air conditioning job. She had tried to get help at several other government agencies. But it was Ruth who got her $3,700 back in no time.
She's a tiger, I'll tell you that.
But Evelyn Burton really played up her senior sleuth assignment.
He was facing the camera sitting there.
During an undercover government sting in her home, while helping to bust this bogus water purification salesman.
I just let him talk, and he didn't scare me. Besides, I had a nice little gun in the house.
They may look mild-mannered, but these senior private eyes don't like to be taken. And now they're finally getting a chance to settle the score.
She got a check.
Gretchen Carlson, CBS News, Pinellas Park, Florida.
It's one of the most popular tourist stops on the West Coast, the Hearst Castle, an over-the-top tribute to extravagance midway between Los Angeles and San Francisco. Now, taxpayers will pay the Hearst family to preserve some of the estate's most scenic seaside land. But, CBS's Sandra Hughes reports, that does not mean the taxpayers will always be invited.
Bob Bell spends his mornings in his machine shop and his afternoons walking with his wife Elise along California's Central Coast and hiking trails around the famed San Simeon Point.
If you could go over there, you'd cry. It's so beautiful. You know, it's like a religious experience. It's just marvelous. Trails all through there.
Now the state of California is about to pay the descendants of millionaire publisher William Randolph Hearst a whopping $95 million, plus millions more in tax breaks, for the coastal area they own surrounding the famous Hearst Castle.
The least they could have done with this, all the money they're getting, is to give this whole coastal strip to the public with complete access. 3
separate beaches and the entire Hearst Ranch will stay in family hands, and they can build homes and a hotel. The ranch stays off limits to the public, and the beaches are severely restricted.
The question being asked by many who live in the coastal communities, as well as some of the millions of people who visit every year, is what did they get for the $95 million?
It's a family heirloom, if you will. And
William Randolph Hearst's grandson sees it as a gift.
You have to look at the deal in its total. You can't take one little piece of it and say, you know, thanks for the gift, but I think it ought to be better.
Critics say it's the Hearst family that's getting the gift, but state officials argue that it would cost hundreds of millions to buy the land outright, so paying the Hearst to preserve the land is the next best thing.
The preservation of the coastline for enjoyment of the people of California and the people of this country, we think it's an outstanding deal.
Although a vocal opponent, Bob Bell is not sure his single voice matters.
This is a corporation, and they're out to make as much money as they can.
Although he considers the beach priceless. Sandra Hughes, CBS News, San Simeon, California.
More stories are just a click away. But don't forget to join me on television for the on-air edition of the CBS Evening News. On Monday's broadcast, Women in the Workplace. They're facing new challenges, but still facing down old obstacles. Join us for Women's Work, a special Eye on America series. For CBSNews.com, I'm Dan Rather.